3 months after losing her husband Mark in a tragic car accident, Sarah was trying to rebuild her life. Until Mark's phone started ringing again, sending her messages that only the two of them could possibly know. This story begins in San Francisco, California. Sarah Mitchell, 34, was a successful cybersecurity specialist. 3 months ago, she'd lost her husband Mark Chen in a horrific traffic accident. A drunk truck driver had run a red light and slammed into Mark's car. He died instantly. That day at the hospital, Sarah had collected Mark's phone from his personal effects. Shattered screen, cracked case. The phone was completely destroyed. Or so she thought. For 3 months, Sarah had been grieving, attending therapy, and slowly trying to return to normal life. She'd packed away Mark's belongings, stored their photos in a special memory box, and converted his social media accounts to memorial pages. But Mark's phone sat quietly in her house. Sarah kept it in a drawer. She couldn't bring herself to throw it away, but she didn't want to see it either. Until that Tuesday evening. Sarah was at home watching Netflix when Mark's phone suddenly started ringing. Impossible. The phone was broken, the battery was dead, and the phone company had told her they disconnected the service. But the phone was ringing. And the message on the screen froze Sarah's blood. Do you remember the woman in the yellow dress? Only Mark could have known about that message. Because, the woman in the yellow dress was their biggest secret from before their marriage. A secret Sarah had never told anyone, and that Mark had taken to his grave. The sender, Mark Chen. But Mark had died 3 months ago. If you love mysterious and chilling stories like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button. What do you think is really happening to Sarah? Is this truly paranormal, or something much darker? Share your theories in the comments below and don't forget to like this video, it really helps us bring you more thrilling stories like this one. Sarah held the phone with trembling hands. The screen was cracked but the message was clearly readable. Do you remember the woman in the yellow dress? 3 years ago, 6 months before their wedding, Sarah and Mark had been drinking at a bar when a young woman in a yellow dress approached Mark. The woman was drunk and had sat down next to Mark. While Sarah was in the restroom, the woman had thrown her arms around Mark and kissed him on the lips. When Sarah returned and saw this, she'd gone ballistic. She'd started arguing with the woman. The argument had turned into a physical fight. And in that chaos, the woman had fallen down the stairs. She died. Sarah and Mark had panicked. They didn't call the police. There were no security cameras, no witnesses. The woman's identity was unclear, there was no ID in her purse. They never told anyone about the incident. The woman's death was reported as an unfortunate accident where an intoxicated woman fell downstairs and died. This secret had bound them together for 3 years. And now someone knew about it. Sarah stared at the phone screen. The message was real. But how was this possible? A second message arrived. What really happened that night, Sarah? Sarah's heart pounded as she dropped the phone. It was written as if it were Mark's voice. His phrases, his writing style. But Mark was dead. Sarah had attended his funeral, watched his casket being lowered into the ground. The next day Sarah had to go to work. She worked as a cybersecurity specialist at Cybersecure Incorporated. Ironically, despite being an expert in digital security, she was experiencing this digital mystery in her own life. At work, she checked Mark's Facebook account. The account had been converted to a memorial page, Facebook's standard procedure for deceased users. But then her eyes froze. Mark's profile had made a new post. 10 minutes ago. Some secrets go to the grave. But some come back. Sarah stared at the screen in disbelief. This was impossible. Memorial accounts couldn't make new posts. This wasn't possible in Facebook's system. She ran to her department manager, David Rogers. David, something impossible is happening. A dead person's social media account is making active posts. David knew Sarah's situation. She'd lost her husband, she might be in the confusion stage. Sarah, maybe the account was hacked. Or there were pre-scheduled posts. David, I'm a cybersecurity specialist. I can tell the difference between a hack and a scheduled post. This is something different. David realized the seriousness of the situation. Okay, let's investigate using company resources. Sarah and David began analyzing Mark's digital footprints using the company's advanced cybersecurity tools. The results were even more disturbing. Mark's phone number was indeed active. It was only sending messages to Sarah, no one else. When they traced the IP address, the messages were coming from different locations throughout San Francisco. But all of them were places Mark had previously visited. The most disturbing part, phone signals were also coming from near Colma Cemetery, where Mark was buried. This is impossible, David said. A dead person can't use a phone. But someone is using Mark's identity. And they know things only I could know. That evening as Sarah was driving home, a third message arrived, come to the cemetery tonight. If you want answers. Sarah stopped. Going to the cemetery would be crazy. But at the same time, this seemed like the only way to solve this mystery. At midnight, Sarah went to Colma Cemetery. Mark's grave was still new, covered with flowers. The cemetery was silent. Only distant city lights and cold wind. Sarah stood in front of the headstone. Mark, if this is really you, please give me a sign. At that moment, her phone rang. Mark's number. This time it was a voice call. Sarah hesitated, then answered. Hello. The voice from the other end was Mark's voice. But cold, distant, as if coming from far away. Sarah. Mark. Is this really you? Sarah, the woman in the yellow dress, she was just the beginning. What do you mean? What happened that night wasn't an accident. Sarah's heart stopped. What do you mean? You pushed her. On purpose. Because you saw her kiss me. This was true. Sarah had never told this to anyone, not even Mark. That night she'd acted in anger. She deliberately pushed the woman, causing her to fall. But you couldn't have known that. You didn't see it that night. I know everything now, Sarah. And the woman's family will find out too. The line went dead. As Sarah drove home, she was thinking in panic. If Mark was really alive, but that was impossible. She'd seen him dead, attended his funeral. An idea occurred to her. The next day she went to the hospital and found Dr. Elizabeth Harrison, who had been on duty that night. Dr. Harrison, could I get information about Mark Chen, who was brought in from a traffic accident 3 months ago? I'm his wife. Dr. Harrison checked the files. Yes, I remember. It was a terrible accident. He died instantly. The body was severely damaged. Did you see the body? I mean, are you certain it was him? Dr. Harrison was surprised. You identified him. You recognized him. Sarah recalled the memories. At the hospital, the body had been mangled, unrecognizable. Identification had only been made through Mark's personal items. Wallet, watch, phone. Doctor, was a DNA test performed? It's not routine in these types of accidents. When identification is clear, it's not considered necessary. A terrible suspicion crossed Sarah's mind. What if the body wasn't Mark? Sarah decided to investigate the identity of the woman in the yellow dress. She examined police reports from 3 years ago. The woman's name was Lisa Warner. 28 years old, a graphic designer. But the most important detail, Lisa had a brother. Michael Warner. 32 years old. A computer programmer. When Sarah researched Michael, she was horrified. Michael Warner was a cybersecurity specialist. He'd specialized in hacking. And after his sister's death, he'd been tracking Sarah and Mark for 3 years. Mark's social media accounts, phone records, digital footprints, Michael had access to everything. And he'd been planning revenge. Sarah found Michael's address. But when she went to the house, it was empty. Michael had fled. But inside the house, Sarah found things that horrified her. Photos of Sarah and Mark hung on the walls. Both of their daily activities, places they went, people they met. 3 years of obsessive tracking. On the computer desk were software programs used to clone Mark's identity. Voice imitation programs, social media account management tools. And the most frightening, photos taken the night Mark had his accident. The photos showed Mark's car before the accident. And Michael's car was visible parked next to it. It wasn't an accident. Michael had killed Mark. Sarah wanted to go to the police but her phone rang. Mark's number again. Sarah, did you see the evidence? You're Michael. Lisa's brother. Smart woman. Yes, I'm Michael Warner. And I'm taking revenge for my sister Lisa. Michael, what happened that night wasn't an accident but... Shut up. Lisa died because of you. And Mark kept your secret. You killed Mark. Mark was just the beginning. Now it's your turn. The line went dead. Sarah panicked. Michael was planning to kill her too. And with this Mark's ghost game, he'd isolated Sarah, putting her in a situation no one would believe. When Sarah tried to leave her house, the doorbell rang. Police were at the door. Sarah Mitchell. We want to question you about new evidence regarding your husband's death. Sarah was surprised. What evidence? Your husband's phone records have been analyzed. It was determined that you had a violent argument with him in the hours before his death. This was impossible. The night Mark died, Sarah was at home, they hadn't had an argument. But Michael had manipulated the phone records. He'd put Sarah in a position to be accused of Mark's death. I can prove I'm innocent. Of course, let's go to the station. Sarah made a decision. Instead of going with the police, she ran. Sarah fled to her company. Only a security guard was working the night shift. She entered David's office and began using the company's most advanced cybersecurity systems. She launched a digital defense against Michael's digital attacks. First, she investigated how Michael had cloned Mark's phone number. He'd used SIM card cloning techniques. Advanced but doable. Second, she discovered how Michael had accessed Mark's social media accounts. He'd gained access to the deceased's digital accounts as a family member. Using fake documents, he'd identified himself as Mark's brother. Third, he'd simulated Mark's voice using voice imitation technology. But when Sarah dug deeper, she discovered the horrifying truth. Michael wasn't just trying to scare Sarah. There was a much bigger plan. Sarah discovered Michael's real plan by infiltrating his computer systems. Michael had been studying Sarah's life for 3 years. Her workplace, friends, financial situation, lifestyle. Everything. And now he was trying to steal Sarah's identity too. Sarah's bank accounts, credit cards, digital assets, Michael had gained access to all of them. The plan was: accuse Sarah of Mark's death, let her rot in prison, and during this time take over her entire digital identity. But the worst part, Michael wasn't only doing this to Sarah. As Sarah examined Michael's files, she found other names. Robert Martinez had died in a car accident 6 months ago. His wife Elena Martinez was still receiving digital messages from her husband. Jennifer Smith had committed suicide a year ago. Her husband David Smith was still talking to his wife's ghost. Michael was a serial killer. He used the same method every time: kill someone, then clone their digital identity to psychologically wear down their spouse, and eventually kill them too. Sarah called Elena Martinez in panic. "Elena, this is Sarah Mitchell. We need to talk about an urgent situation. Who's calling? Are you still receiving messages from your husband Robert? Elena remained silent. How do you know about that? Because the same thing is happening to me. And it's not real. Sarah and Elena met. Elena was also receiving ghost messages after her husband's death, just like Sarah. Robert tells me things only the two of us knew, Elena said. How could he know? Sarah explained the situation. Michael's system, digital identity cloning, psychological manipulation. But why? What does this man want from us? It's not revenge. It's money. After killing our husbands, Michael steals our digital identities too. Our bank accounts, assets, everything. Elena's eyes widened. Robert's life insurance. I still haven't been able to get it. They keep asking for different documents. Because Michael is manipulating those documents. He's constantly stalling you while gaining access to accounts during this time. They also found David Smith. His situation was the same. Michael had been systematically killing people for a year, stealing their digital identities, and getting rich. Sarah, Elena, and David planned revenge. They would set a trap for Michael to stop him. Sarah used the advanced systems at her company to create false digital trails. According to the systems Michael was tracking, Sarah appeared to be transferring large amounts of money to offshore accounts. This would catch Michael's attention and make him take action. At the same time, Elena and David explained the situation to the police in detail. But the police had difficulty believing. Are you claiming that dead people are sending messages? No, we're saying someone can steal dead people's identities and mess with us. Even though the police accepted it, the evidence was insufficient. Sarah's plan was different. She would beat Michael at his own game. Sarah's trap worked. Michael noticed Sarah's money transfer activities and took action to stop her. But this time she was prepared. While Sarah was working the night shift at the office, Michael came. He'd neutralized the security guard. Sarah Mitchell. Finally we can talk face to face. Michael was in his mid-30s, medium height, ordinary-looking man. But there was cold anger in his eyes. You're Lisa's brother. Yes. And you're the killer who murdered my sister. Lisa's death wasn't an accident, but... Shut up. Lisa died because of you. Now you're going to die too. Michael drew a gun. But Sarah was prepared. She triggered the office fire alarm system. The system automatically alerted the police. Michael, I'm sorry about Lisa's death. But you're killing innocent people too. Innocent? You're a killer, Sarah. What about Robert Martinez? Jennifer Smith? Mark? What crimes had they committed? Michael's face changed. He realized his plan had been discovered. They were just collateral damage. Collateral damage? You're killing for money. I don't care about money. I want everyone to experience Lisa's pain. Michael had gone crazy. His sister's death had completely driven him insane. Michael, Lisa wouldn't want revenge. She was a good-hearted person. You didn't know her. But you're not that Michael anymore either. You've become a killer. Police sirens were approaching. Michael panicked. Sarah, you're coming with me. Otherwise Elena and David will die too. You didn't do anything to them. Not yet. But I will. Sarah was in a difficult position. If she went with Michael, she would die. But if she stayed, Elena and David would be in danger. Then an idea occurred to her. Michael, I have an offer for you. Let me die, but leave Elena and David alone. Why are you suggesting this? Because I'm really responsible for Lisa's death. They're innocent. Michael hesitated. This offer made sense. Okay. But first you need to apologize to Lisa. Sarah picked up the phone. How will I do this? We'll go to Lisa's grave. You'll apologize there and then you'll die. Michael and Sarah went to Colma Cemetery. Lisa Warner's grave was only 100 meters from Mark's grave. Kneel down, Michael said. Sarah knelt in front of Lisa's headstone. Lisa, I'm very sorry for what happened that night. I acted in anger and you died. This was my fault. Enough. Now it's time to die. Michael pointed his gun at Sarah's head. At that moment, police cars entered the cemetery. Elena and David had directed the police. Michael Warner. Drop your weapon. Michael was surrounded. But he didn't give up. Everyone back off. Or I'll kill her. Sarah decided to make one final move. Michael, I want to say one last thing to Lisa. What? Sarah stood up and looked at Michael. Tell your sister that her brother became a killer. Michael tried to fire his gun in anger, but Sarah was ready. She jumped to the side and struck Michael's arm. The gun fell to the ground. Police intervened and Michael was arrested. Michael Warner, you're under arrest for the murders of Mark Chen, Robert Martinez, and Jennifer Smith, as well as digital identity theft. Michael was screaming frantically, Lisa. Sister. I couldn't save you. As police took him away, Sarah, Elena, and David breathed a sigh of relief. It's over, Sarah said. The digital ghost is no more. 3 months later, Sarah was rebuilding her life. Michael was sentenced to life in prison. Elena and David were also continuing their lives. They no longer received messages from their dead spouses. Sarah visited Mark's grave. His real grave. Mark, I know. You weren't there but. I'm sorry for everything. The woman in yellow dress, the secret we hid, and everything that led to your death. The wind blew leaves. As if Mark was responding. When Sarah's phone chimed, she was scared. But this time it was a normal message. From her coworker David. Sarah, would you like to work on the new project? It's about digital security. Sarah smiled and replied, yes. I've learned to fight digital ghosts. Sarah's story taught us an important lesson. In the digital world, our identities, memories, and secrets live forever. But these digital traces can become terrible weapons in the wrong hands. What Michael Warner did wasn't just murder. It was also digital identity theft, psychological manipulation, and emotional abuse. In the 21st century, even death doesn't mean the end. Our digital identities follow us in our lives. Sarah now specialized in this. She founded a special company to protect the digital identities of deceased people. Digital Legacy Protection Company worked to prevent the misuse of dead people's digital identities. 6 months later, Sarah was happy in her new life. She was attending therapy, making new friends. One evening her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Is this Sarah Mitchell? Yes, who's calling? This is Detective Rodriguez from San Jose Police Department. We need to speak with you. Sarah's heart raced. About what? About Michael Warner. Even though he's in prison, it's been detected that he's still stealing someone's digital identity. Sarah froze. That's impossible. He's in prison, he doesn't have internet access. That's why we need to talk to you. We think he has a partner. Sarah went to the police station. Detective Rodriguez showed her new files. Even though Michael Warner is in prison, last week a woman named Jennifer Chen started receiving messages from her dead husband. Sarah examined the files. Same method, same psychological manipulation. Does Michael have any visitor records? Yes. One person came regularly. Someone named Alex Turner. He introduced himself as Michael's former coworker. When Sarah researched Alex Turner, she discovered the real horror. Alex Turner wasn't a real person. It was a fake identity. But when the digital traces were tracked, the real identity shocked Sarah. Lisa Warner. Lisa Warner was alive. This is impossible, Sarah said. Lisa Warner died 3 years ago. I killed her. Detective Rodriguez checked the files again. Sarah, the identity of the woman who died 3 years ago was never clearly established. The identification documents belonged to Lisa Warner but what? No DNA test was ever performed. The body was too damaged. A terrible possibility crossed Sarah's mind. What if the person who died wasn't Lisa? We spoke with Michael in prison. When we asked about Alex Turner, he started laughing frantically. He said, "My sister is still alive and you don't even know it." Sarah now understood. The woman who died 3 years ago wasn't Lisa. Lisa had changed identities, sent someone else to die in her place, and had been planning revenge with her brother for 3 years. When Sarah investigated Lisa's real identity, she discovered the magnitude of the incredible conspiracy. Lisa Warner was never the person who died. 3 years ago, she'd left that bar with another woman. The drunk woman wasn't actually Lisa's twin, but someone who looked very similar named Emma Davis. Lisa had manipulated Emma into dying in her place. By leaving Lisa's identification documents on Emma, she'd created the impression that she herself had died. For 3 years, Lisa had faked her death and planned revenge with Michael. Mark's death, the other murders, digital identity thefts, all of it was Lisa and Michael's joint plan. Sarah worked with technology experts to find Lisa's real location. Lisa had been caught on security cameras while visiting Michael in prison under the identity Alex Turner. Using facial recognition software, Lisa's hiding place in San Francisco was identified. But when Sarah went there, Lisa was waiting for her. Sarah Mitchell. Finally we meet. Lisa was 31 years old, medium height, brown-haired woman. But there was even colder anger in her eyes than Michael's. You didn't die. Of course I didn't die. I'm much smarter than that. Emma Davis was a stupid girl who agreed to die in my place. Why? Why did you kill so many people? Because the night you ruined my plan, my life was destroyed. Now I'm going to destroy yours. Lisa revealed her real plan to Sarah. Michael only used brute force. I'm much smarter. I'm going to slowly destroy your life. Lisa had completely taken over Sarah's identity. Bank accounts, credit history, work records, everything. Starting tomorrow, you won't exist anywhere. You'll be digitally erased. But the worst part. Lisa had also taken over Sarah's newly founded Digital Legacy Protection company. All your company's clients are under my control. Instead of protecting their digital identities, I'll steal them. The company Sarah had founded had become perfect cover for Lisa. The second digital war began between Sarah and Lisa. This time Sarah wasn't alone. Elena, David, and Detective Rodriguez were helping her. Lisa's system was much more advanced. She wasn't just stealing identities, she was also rewriting people's digital histories. Sarah, your past no longer exists, Lisa said. In FBI records, you were never born. Indeed, in official records, there was no trace of Sarah Mitchell's existence. But Sarah hadn't been idle either. Using all the resources and experience from Cybersecure Incorporated, she launched an attack against Lisa. While the digital war continued, Sarah discovered Lisa's real past. Lisa Warner was actually a major con artist. Long before the "woman in yellow dress" incident, she'd deceived dozens of people and stolen their identities. Her being at the bar that night wasn't a coincidence either. She'd selected Sarah and Mark as targets and planned to trap them. Convincing Emma Davis to die in her place was also part of the plan. Lisa, you were deceiving us 3 years ago too. Of course. You were such easy prey, Sarah. You couldn't control your anger. The digital war between Lisa and Sarah began affecting San Francisco. The city's internet infrastructure started collapsing. The FBI intervened. "This is no longer a personal matter," said FBI agent Cooper. "Lisa Warner has become a national security threat." Lisa had hacked all of the city's digital systems, creating chaos. "The entire city is under my control," she screamed. "Sarah, surrender or I'll destroy San Francisco." Sarah faced a difficult decision. Sarah wanted to speak with Lisa face to face one last time. "Lisa, is it me you want? Take me. But leave innocent people alone." "Too late, Sarah. Now it's not just you, the whole world is my enemy." Lisa had completely lost her mind. She no longer wanted just revenge, she wanted to control the entire digital world. "I'm going to be a digital goddess." Sarah made her final move. Using all her cybersecurity knowledge, she infiltrated Lisa's system. Sarah decided to sacrifice her own digital identity to bring down Lisa's system. "What are you doing?" Lisa screamed. "I'm digitally killing myself to stop you." Sarah disconnected Lisa's system connection by deleting her own digital traces. Lisa's entire network collapsed. "No. I'm losing everything." The FBI launched an assault at that moment. Lisa was captured. But Sarah's digital identity was also destroyed. Sarah Mitchell no longer existed digitally. But she was alive physically. The FBI gave her a new identity, Emily Ross. "This time your past is completely clean," said Agent Cooper. "The trauma caused by Lisa and Michael doesn't exist in official records." Emily began her new life. Digital Legacy Protection Company came under FBI control and began actually working for digital security. Elena and David also continued safe lives with new identities. 2 years later, Emily Ross, former Sarah Mitchell, was living a peaceful life. One day her old phone rang. Mark's number. Emily was scared. Lisa was in prison, Michael was in prison too. Who could this be? When she opened the message, she burst into tears. "Sarah, this is the real Mark. This is the only time you'll be able to read this message. Lisa managed to kill me but I still love you. Don't believe any suspicious digital message you see. Real love doesn't live in the digital world, it lives in the real world. Be happy." This message wasn't real, of course. Maybe it was a message the FBI sent to boost Sarah's morale. But Emily wanted to believe it. Emily continued consulting on digital security. But she no longer completely trusted technology. The digital world can be fake, she would tell her clients. But real emotions, real relationships, real life are still important. Lisa was sentenced to life in prison. Michael too. Emily would occasionally visit them. "Why do you come?" Lisa asked. "Because you're human too. You made bad choices but you still have a chance to be saved." Epilogue, Digital Lessons. Emily's story teaches us important lessons. Our digital identities are as important as our real identities. Technology can be used for evil purposes. Even death isn't the end in the digital world. Real relationships are more valuable than digital relationships. The digital traces of our past follow us today. Aren't we sure that every message we receive from WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram is real? What Emily experienced isn't science fiction. Technology has advanced to this level. And maybe that message you just received from your old friend isn't real. Digital ghosts are real. And they live among us.